around him understands him.
Well, and I really liked what you said, because I've actually thought about, like, where does he go from here? And part of it is, like, yeah, calming down, bringing it back down.
Well, for me, like, my experience with depression has been, I kind of just have been pretending to be someone else for too long.
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't addressed my own issues. I haven't addressed my lack of discipline. I haven't addressed this and that and all these things, and they're just piling up. And I'm just putting on a happy face when I go out, trying to forget, drinking, trying to forget, getting high, doing drugs, not focusing on my spirituality, my connection, my friends. You know, not focusing on the things that nurture me, and then my discipline, you know?
Right.
And so, I feel like I can really be myself whenever all those things are locked in. I sing better.
Yeah.
I have motivation to perform. I improvise. My wit is quicker. I'm just feeling better, you know?
There's joy.
There's joy. Versus when I'm pretending to be someone, it's just kind of like manufactured. I feel sluggish. I feel weak in the hands. You know, my back feels tight. My lower back hurts. You know, I'm in pain when I'm pretending to be someone else versus just being myself. And I noticed these videos of Justin when he's like a little kid. He's got a goofy vibe.
Yeah.
You know, versus when he's a grown-up, he's got the vibe of someone who's just trying to be cool. Like, he's like stifling himself.
Yeah. And you were talking a little bit about, like, maybe right now he doesn't know who he is. You know? Like, right now he feels like he forgot. But part of that is just recognizing that it's not so much that you don't know who you are, but part of you got hurt through the process of becoming Justin Bieber, you know?
Well, yeah, people's expectations. You don't want to let your people down. People become dependent on you. And you feel like you're living in a bubble. Right? Because you don't have any peers. All your friends look up to you. Everyone knows you're famous. Everyone wants to, all the people you meet just want to be you.
Right.
Or they're living vicariously through you, or they want to make money from you. They want to take advantage of you. They want to get their bag. They don't care about you because now you're just something else. But he's just a person. These are just people.
Right.
So feeling that kind of disconnect from society at that age so suddenly probably felt amazing at the beginning.
Sure.
Which is what you can see in this documentary. It looks fucking awesome.
Right.
He, like, is now famous. He gets to, like, go play all these shows, and he's surrounded by a team. Usher. Right?
Yeah.
And he plays a massive gigs. And people are showing up.
Yeah.
And it's just like a huge dopamine rush. And then in the documentary, he gets a little bit sick. He gets a little bit ill. Gets a sore throat, and his vocal coach is telling him, it's because you're not taking breaks, it's because you're yelling, it's because you're talking too much to your friends. And he's like, well, I'm just a 16-year-old kid. Well, do you want to commit or not?
Right.
Do you want to go back home to Canada? Or do you want to commit and play the shows that you said you were going to do?
Right.
And you can see his face is just like, he felt like a dog on a leash.
Yeah.
He realized this was not the path to freedom. This was a path to a prison.
Yeah. He doesn't have a supportive crew in some
And his
ways.
mom is a young woman. She's like probably 30 in the video.
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, she probably had him when she was like 15.
Yeah.
She's like a young person.
Young mom.
She's a young mom.
Yeah.
And the grandparents are young. And the dad is like there, but you can tell he was absent, you know?
Right.
The dad was there, and Justin's like, this is my dad. And it just kind of is like a touching moment, I guess, a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of sad. Everybody's so young, and he is just this, like, born leader.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, who gets put in this position, not encouraged to be the great person that he could have been, I think. He was more encouraged to just be the working horse, the workhorse, the monkey.
Right.
Really, the dancing monkey.
Right.
That's what they encouraged him to be, the dancing monkey. He could have been so much more than that. Like, yes, he can sing, he can play drums, he can do everything. I guarantee you, he's got other sensitivities.
Yeah.
Like, higher sensitivities. A lot of talent.
Yeah.
Instead, they, like, pigeonholed him into this, like, singing thing.
Right.
And
that's your worth.
Yeah, that's your worth, bro. That's all you are. You're this hair flippy kid. And I'm sure at 16 that was cool, but like they didn't let him move on from that. It seems like he could have gone on to be some kind of politician or community starter. He could still do that.
He still can.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that he's been involved in his own spiritual path. Like he's got a crew in that area. And he might already have become a dad, I think.
Is he a dad?
He's going to be a dad in just like a short little minute.
Oh, Hailey Bieber is pregnant?
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's daughter.
Oh, really? I didn't realize
Baldwin?
that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Hailey Baldwin.
That's something that, you know, for me, like taking on the responsibility of a dad, like what do you even do to like assume that role in that environment that he's come up in, and so that I think when you talk about something higher, like it's so important to have people who want to support you personally. Like the joy comes from understanding that I personally need to develop and grow spiritually, and I want to give you that opportunity to grow spiritually without it becoming some sort of transaction of like, okay, now I'm going to look for something when you come up, I'm going to come up now, right? And, you know, in some ways I'm blessed that I haven't had to deal with that at such a young age of coming up so fast and then, you know, so much weight.
I know, imagine. I feel like that's kind of what young parents run into.
Yeah.
You know, like, at first they might not realize the burdens of having a child. And maybe that's why you make mistakes, because every moment counts when you have a kid, right? You know, you're raising them, you're teaching them, they're like soaking up the world through your eyes. And that's kind of what they did to Justin. A lot of ways, they put him in this environment without really knowing anything.
No.
Anything that it was going to do to him, anything that was going to involve him. And Justin, he's a kid. He's a, you know.
He wants to please his parents, too.
Well, he's also, I was 16, too. I had dreams. I wanted to get picked up in a helicopter at school, just like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
You know? And it just like, he's living the dream.
Right.
So, it's just, there's no guidebook.
Yeah.
There's no guidebook when you're fucking living the dream, when you're living at the frontier of reality and dream world. You know, he's like living right at the edge there. His dreams came true. Nobody knows what that's like.
No. There's like a reality to hitting that kind of level, you know, that it looks fun. It looks exciting. It is exciting. Like you said, a huge dopamine rush. But what is the reality of the day in and day out, kind of the quiet moments where it's like, man, who am I becoming? Like, what is that?
Who am I forgetting?
Yeah.
Is really what the question is. Who am I forgetting? I think everybody's born knowing who they are. It's not something that you really even have to define, right? It's an imaginary point. It's a nebulous, kind of gaseous thing.
Yeah.
It's who you are. You are it.
Right. Already.
You grow up. You grow up. You are this thing. Who are you? What are you? You can't even describe it. That's why a lot of people are like, whoa, I'm trying to find who I am. Well, you're thinking about the wrong things. You're thinking about words. You're thinking about semantics.
Right.
But what you are is often just felt.
Yeah.
It's often just settled into.
Yeah.
And then you get attacked with all these labels and all these opinions of people and all these things and these societal norms and all these things.
Identity.
Yeah. And persona.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Latin word for mask, or maybe the Greek word for mask. It's just a mask.
Yeah.
You're putting on this mask, this personality. And you're trying to craft it and then I remember there was a time when I mistook personality for like who I am.
Yeah.
You know, my personality, it's how I please people.
Mm-hmm.
My personality is like, it has to be pleasing to people. It has to be awesome. I have to be cool.
Right.
That's my personality.
And
then you forget. You forget who you are.
There's a certain amount of reassurance that comes from that too. Of like, I get a certain amount of control about how people view me. Like, there's some safety in assuming that role of like, I'm this kind of person. I have this kind of clout. I'm going to always handle it smooth. I'm always going to like be funny. I'm always going to be the cool guy. Right. And, those are burdens. Those are like real burdens. There's no room for failure in that kind of identity you take on for yourself. Nor can you really let people like truly love you, because you're constantly seeking for that next like way to prove yourself to somebody. It's like,
also, you're seeking for that. You're looking for that validation.
Yeah.
You're like looking for, at every corner. Also, you're kind of like wanting to be liked for the person you're portraying.
Yeah.
Because usually you don't feel good about the person you really are.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you don't feel good about yourself. So you want to like portray this thing so that you can be liked and so that you can please people.
Mm-hmm.
But then you said it. You can't really be loved.
No.
And your heart knows it.
Yeah.
If you can't be loved, nobody knows who you are. You feel lonely.
Yeah.
You feel loneliness.
Yeah.
You feel disconnection.
Mm-hmm. Right. And isn't that kind of the blessing and the curse of the internet in some ways? Like, it forces such a intense contact with other people that, we're looking for viral moments, but really we want to kind of skip ahead to intimacy, right? To know and be known, to know and be known and accepted for who you are. I know you and I accept you. So we want to like skip through all of the time that requires, and just like,
what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Mm-hmm.
You want to skip right away to the let's get into bed.
Yeah.
Without first telling people about what's your favorite color.
Mm-hmm. Right. You can't love somebody until you get to know them a little bit, and love doesn't happen right away.
And in fact, love doesn't happen from knowing things about someone.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, even for my own kids, like, I didn't necessarily love them when they first came into my life, because they were responsibilities that I had to fulfill. And it's not until I had to do more work on myself where it's like, I actually really like this person now that I've been able to make room for somebody. I'm not so caught up in my own like program, my own narrative, my own inner monologue that I'm always running. When I can sit and make room for another person, like with my own kids, they're not part of my personality. They're not necessarily a judgment on what kind of person I am. So to make space for them and say, okay, like, I don't always understand where you're coming from, but I enjoy spending time with you. Because I'm a grown-up man compared to like a little kid. We've got two different things going on, right? And so I have to stop trying to be like, well, get on my level. It's like, I just want to make room for them. There's there's too much trying to force things to fit into that identity, that persona, that storyline that I want to create about, like, this is my come up, this is the way it's going to look, this is, I'm the main character, y'all are just side characters, you're the NPCs, I'm the main character. That there's no room for to let yourself breathe in that environment. Can't just like let it flow. And the interesting thing is that I have been I thought about Justin Bieber a few times over the last year, just based off of kind of like what you were saying. He has a lot of talent in some areas, and yet has he not been able to develop fully because he was, pushed into this role really quickly. And I think, if we were able to talk to him, the answer would be yes. I mean, of course, maybe I relate to that because I was put into roles quickly, not as publicly, right? But put into roles that I had to, based off of the pressure of my parents, based off the pressure of, the circles that I was a part of. I had to, hurry up and fill that role, Yeah, okay, maybe you have feelings about trying to be in that role, but hurry up and do it anyways. And so there's a price that got paid where I'm like acting, filling the role. And on the inside, it's like, but I don't even know if I like doing this. I don't even know if I connect with this fully. I was on a podcast like last year, and I was thinking about what would it look like to have these really talented people who have been established in the music business, for them to have a more organic, kind of love-based production of music, which takes time, right? I've heard it said where it's like you write your first album over 8 years, you write your second album if you hit it big in 1 year, right? So 8 years of your life that you could grow and learn and write something, step away, come back to it, as opposed to the second album. Okay, now the pressure's on, you got to hurry up and start cranking it out. So I'm just interested I would love to see people who are already established in the music business give themselves the permission to really have a safe place to create. And some of those people already probably carved it out, I think. Some of those guys that are making...
Kanye?
Yeah. He's got a pretty safe space.
If anybody's got a safe space to create whatever he wants, it's Kanye.
I was thinking a Willie Nelson. I feel like he's had a traveling band that he's been running for decades. Bob Dylan, and those are people that they've had a long, full career. Justin, I think he could have a really surprising second act or third act, if you will, of his career, because he's been a kid, he's been a man,
a young adult.
Yeah, a young adult. Now as a father, now as an integrated person, a whole person. What would that music look like?
I hope he finds it.
Yeah.
I really do, because it'll be a national tragedy. The other alternative, Justin.
Yeah.
The other alternative. I've seen it. I've seen friends. Just because you're special, because you got famous, bro, doesn't mean it won't come for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're exempt from being a human.
It could be a hero's journey or a cautionary tale.
A little bit of both.
True.
Right?
True.
That's the reality.
Right.
Depends on when you stop the film.
Yeah. Right.
If you keep following the film, as long as life goes, everything happens. Mm-hmm. And Justin is a hero's tale, a cautionary tale right now, because that's what it looks like as an artist, as a sensitive person when you don't take care of your connection to your body, God, the world. When you let other people's expectations rule your whole life.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to stay supple.
Yeah.
Not hard.
Not rigid.
Not brittle. Not bitter.
Yeah.
You know? You have to stay supple, moist, you know, rebounding.
Hydrated.
Like a plant. You don't want to be a dead plant.
No.
You want to be a living plant.
I want to be a river.
And yeah, you grow. And you like parts of your body harden into a tree, strong tree. But there's always new leaves that are just being born. Justin, I feel like it was very apparent in this documentary. Because whenever they were showing the clips of him being a kid, with he was like pantomiming a saxophone.
Yeah.
Crowds laughing. He's just like looking goofy.
Right.
He's just a kid, like a goofy, kind of charismatic, super talented kid. Could be an actor. Could have been an actor. And then you see him after he's been surrounded by nothing but adults, cameras, people trying to make him rich, usher, celebrities, managers, vocal coaches. He's just like stiff and like doesn't even know what to do.
Right.
He's got what Native Americans in Mexico would call a susto. He's got it. He's kind of like in fight or flight.
Oh.
He's like, and even his moves are like a little more rigid.
Right.
And like his face, he's got a beautiful face, but you know, he's like making a face.
Right.
It's not his real face.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can see the progression of that.
Yeah. It's tough to hold all that weight. I mean, I think, man, susto.
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 Un susto.
Un susto. I relate to that. Waking up tense, in pain, like stiff.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, not settled.
Not settled.
Not settled. Because I'm afraid if I stop running, something's going to catch me, you know? And so that pressure to perform, to meet expectations that others are now demanding of you in some ways. And so giving into those demands of like, okay, I guess I just got to shut up and plow through. And so like, but that agreement that I've made in my own life where it's like, okay, I guess I just got to shut up and do it.
Just got to shut up and put up.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts because then I don't feel like I can trust anyone. Because it's like, it's called living with stress, bro. You can't trust anyone because you're just paranoid. Right. You're just living with, well, and it's true. You can surround yourself with people that you can't trust. I've surrounded myself with people I can't trust. And not because of their fault, but because I thought like, okay, I guess this is how the world works. I guess this is how things are. So when I compromised with that, I think it took at least 13 years of my life, if not longer. I think it started when I was a kid to make that face my job. Like if I don't stop fulfilling other people's expectations of me, I'm going to get abandoned. I'm going to be unlovable. And it wasn't until recently where I had to go through a lot of crisis, like a lot of crisis, self-inflicted misery, because I was so obsessed with fulfilling other people's expectations of me that when I finally couldn't keep juggling it anymore and it started to really fall apart, I'm really grateful that I could get help at that time and then sit with other people who had been in similar pain, and they knew from their own experience, and I didn't realize it at the time, that the way out of that was through. Like, no more face, no more, this isn't homework, it's not a job, it's not a checklist. Like, you got to feel it. And to feel something, you have to sort of understand it at a fuller level than where you've been at, which is just performative, right? Performing.
Yeah. You're executing a strategy.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it comes from the strategizing, your abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
You're strategizing on how to not be abandoned.
Right.
And your strategy was to put on a persona that made you more likable and unabandonable.
Yeah. It'll never happen.
And that was your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was meant to be temporary.
Mm-hmm. It's okay to let it fall apart. It was okay. It was necessary for me to let it, like, all the pieces scattering, like, man. And to have safe place to say, what do you really want? What do you really want? Because I can't make you do anything. You can't make me do anything. I might be subservient on the outside, but on my inner level, I'm in rebellion. I'm rebelling against this because it is not how I want to live my life. I'm not in agreement. My core values are being, disrupted. I'm living in a way that doesn't feel correct. And, that to really give yourself the space to correct that, for me, I had to get with other people who were already doing that. It's like muscle memory, like, watching somebody play guitar, watching somebody, perform in sports, watching somebody act. I had to see that at a spiritual level, like somebody who was already living in the spirit and then demonstrate that to me. It's like, how are you doing that? Over and over and kind of mimicking them. And then eventually catching hold of some of those feelings of like, whoa, like, wait a minute. I went through that situation that used to baffle me. It used to like confound me. And I would just like try and use the same strategy, the old strategy of like plowing through and then, like oblivion, self-soothing of like, didn't get what I wanted anyways. Might as well get my kicks on my own time, get drunk, get blackout drunk, and just like wake up and try and do it again over and over. So I really have learned a lot over the last few years, and we're in this new space now to make things, we're in a new space. I think there's a lot of potential. And the cool thing is, I'll kind of end with this because we've been talking for a while, but the thing that I read last week was like, when you make mistakes, try and fall up the stairs rather than kicking yourself down the stairs, because it's falling back into those old attitudes. Like, I already know what that's been like. I've already lived through that. That's not worth it anymore. Like, but to fall forward, just go, whoa, okay, like, I need some help. Because a lot of my mistakes are done. Like, they were awful, and there's still some consequence I have to deal with, but I never have to live that way again. I never have to live that way again. Even stuff from an hour ago, I don't have to do it again. And, so much of my energy was lost towards replaying the tape. Maybe I'll catch the moment that, like, oh, that's where I messed up. And if I can catch that, then I'll never do it again. It's like, that's done. Like, that's over. I'll never get that time back. The time now that we can spend, growing and healing together, that's worth everything. It's worth all that time and energy, and to let go of the past. Like maybe some consideration of it, learning from it, but then let's move forward. So, I'm grateful to have a good crew to make music with.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I was looking at a picture of myself as a kid. I saw a picture of myself, and it was like a face that I remember being able to make.
Yeah.
And it was like just a natural face. Like, it was just my smile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I haven't smiled like that in a long, long, long time. And when I sat there and I looked at that picture of myself, and I relaxed into some kind of meditative space, a little bit of hypnotic space, and found myself talking to myself. Talking to that kid. Hey, you're not a bad kid.
No.
Your parents, they're just telling you these things. But they love you.
They do.
It's, but you're not a bad kid. They're making you feel like a bad kid.
Sure.
They're making you feel like they might abandon you.
True.
They're making you feel like you should have never been born.
Yeah.
And you're sensitive. I know you're sensitive, and you're smart. And you're intelligent. And your parents are not as sensitive as you. And they are just other people.
Right.
And I'm sorry that you have no one. But you're going to grow up, and guess what? All along the way, we're there for each other. You're there for me. You're there for me. Because whenever I'm a grown-up and I'm forgetting about the joys of life, there you are. There's my inner child reminding me to be curious, to wonder about things,
right? To
remember, to romanticize. Remember to romanticize life.
Yeah.
There you are. And whenever you feel like no one is there for you, I am here for you. I take care of you. I've been taking care of you all along. Look how far we've come. I've taken care of you. I dress myself. I brush my teeth, comb my hair, and I make you presentable. I feed you. I teach you skills.
Right.
I play guitar for you. I sing for you. I think, this is what I do for you because when I was you, I wanted to be this.
Right.
And here I am.
Right. Every animal, the most stressful time in their life is when they're young. It's actually less stressful for them when they're fully formed.
Yeah.
Because they have resources, they have experience, and they know how to use that experience. And so it's a very stressful time to be young.
Yeah, it is.
It's very stressful.
And we live in a world where it's the rat paradise. Have you seen that? The rat paradise?
Yeah.
Have you read about that study?
Like Rat City? Or
Rat City.
Yeah.
We're living in Rat City. The pleasures of the world are more rewarding than raising your children. They're more rewarding than family connection. They're more rewarding than all of these kind of necessary things that we need to survive and to be healthy.
Right.
So, yeah, Rat City.
That's interesting because if you put a rat in isolation and you give them food and water and cocaine, like they'll take the cocaine until they starve to death. And so when they were put into Rat City, even when there was cocaine, like the connections that they were making with the other rats and playing and having sex and like making babies and stuff, like they eventually weaned themselves off of the cocaine.
And then when it kept going, there was a dystopian, like the rats eventually broke into factions.
Really?
Yes, and they became cannibalistic, and they became addicted to orgies, sex. Yeah. They just started having sex and eating each other.
Yeah.
And when they would have babies, they would abandon the babies.
Right.
And they would go back to Rat City. So Rat City itself became the drug.
Yeah.
Even cocaine was not more addicting than Rat City.
Yeah. Wow. And that's so interesting that, a lot of the struggle for survival has been eliminated in our society. More free time than we've ever had as people.
And that's where it is. That's where human connection and having babies, that's the connection that we have to survival.
Right.
That's our survival right there. We don't have to worry about survival at all.
Yeah. No, not really.
So that system of ours that is for our survival and for making babies, it's being exhausted by stress and dopamine. So it's your fight or flight. It's your sympathetic nervous system. It's the one that controls sex, controls stress, all of that shit. Hunger.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Your sixth sense. It's your sixth sense. Right? It's your gut. It's like all this. And whenever you're flooded with stress, but also tons of dopamine, and you're pretty much dopamine depleted all the time.
Right.
And full of stress, you can't get horny. Or all you can get is horny.
Yeah.
But you don't really feel fulfilled from taking care of your children. You don't feel fulfilled from connecting with your partner.
Right.
You don't feel any fulfillment at all, other than the dopamine rush of everyday life and having this. Now it's this. But back in the day, it was TV or magazines or strippers or, drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, drugs are a huge part of the Rat City.
Yeah. True. We're oversaturated. And, we can talk a little bit about, like, I guess for me, I feel like there's some things that we've done through no fault of our own. Like, we don't understand that, like, by putting the food that we put in the gas stations and fast food places, like, we're overeating. By putting ourselves into situations where we're media saturated, we're overstimulated. And the accessibility of the different types of drugs that we've made available to ourselves and the quantities, the potency.
Totally.
Yeah. We had to work.
The weed.
Yeah. We had to work so hard.
It's stronger than ever now. And I used to have to, like, skateboard down to fucking downtown to pick up $10 of swag.
Yeah. Kids don't even know what swag is anymore.
What a fucking time to be alive, bro. Kids don't even know what swag is anymore. They're like, what the fuck is swag?
Yeah.
Like, bro, we used to get weed that looked like bricks, bro. That looked like fucking, like tarry green, what did it even look like? It was for me. It was like it just looked like compressed weed.
Yeah.
Like, no buds visible.
No.
Just kind of like maybe a little leafy, but like just tons of seeds.
Right.
You know.
Some stems.
Tons of stems. Smoke it all. Put it all in the piece of paper, and then just fucking smoked it. You get barely high, but you get a lot of headache.
Yeah. You get a lot of headache.
And then now this shit, I just bought this right down the street. I walked there. It was $25. They cash only still. But there was an ATM. And the lady was like, "Thank you. We'll see you next time. You want a rewards card?
Yeah.
You get 5 of these. We'll give you the 6th one free."
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I thought Snapchat changed the game for dealers because the messages disappeared.
Right.
You know? So I was like, oh, this is the shit. But now this is a whole different game. You don't even need Snapchat anymore.
Social media has intentionally blinded itself where, you know, when they've been probed by the law, they say we don't keep record of that, you know, for the sake of our clients and for ourselves.
Right, because they would be liable.
They would be liable.
That was a good move on their part.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think so. Well, and I feel like maybe some parting thoughts for all of this is, you know, you can put a bunch of societal like underpinnings. You can put a bunch of like of things on top of the self, but underneath that, it's, you know, we use words to describe mountains as majestic, or we call a tiger like powerful, but really the tiger doesn't think that way. It's just a tiger. Like the mountain doesn't have that kind of awareness. It's just a mountain. And so as a human being searching for all of this gratification in outside places, when really internally, like we're already what we need to be, you know? So in some ways, it's not so much as like finding the thing, so much as it is uncovering, where it's like we got to kind of uncover the person that we already are, because we've sort of littered it with a lot of distraction. So, you know.
How do you go about doing that?
How do I go about doing that? I mean, the basic way of doing it is like eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart. You know, it's not flashy, but it's what I wanted all along, you know? Like it has to feel better than the other stuff I've already been doing.
Yeah, the other stuff is killing you.
Yeah, but to sit there with another person and to like feel with them, and not just the happy stuff, but to like grieve, to be confused, to or to even just be neutral. Like that was one thing that I always felt like I had to have an opinion on something. I had to have an opinion on everything. It's like, I don't always have to have an opinion. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. And so, you know, just...
That's so real. So many people still think they have to have an opinion on everything.
On everything. Because you might be dumb if you don't have an opinion on something. Like, oh, what are you, dumb? Like, you don't...
if you're dumb, we don't love you.
Yeah.
You'll be abandoned.
You will be abandoned.
This is your strategy.
Right. Oh, so I have to... Like...
And it was meant to be temporary all along.
It was meant to be temporary.
But you habitualized it.
Yeah.
Because of your situation. Because you were faced with that situation every day of your life.
Yeah. Come
when
through.
You were a kid.
What are you going to do? What am I going to do?
Something that helps me remember myself is exercise.
Yeah.
I connect to my body, and my body remembers little memories. And if I try to forget about the memory, it stays locked in. But if I feel the memory, I work it out, and it goes away.
Yeah.
And it goes away.
Yep. Can't run from it.
No. You have to kind of like muscle through and just feel it, and it hurts, and it makes you want to cringe.
Can't believe I did that.
I can't believe I did that, or that happened to me, or they did that, or whoever, or what. And then just, you have to keep going.
Keep going.
Work out. Oh, feel angry about it. And that's, go through the 5 stages of grief through it.
Yeah.
You know, muscle your way through. And if it's not possible right then and there, then you know you have some deeper work to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to work on that one next time.
More heart work.
More heart work.
Yeah.
Working hard or heartily working?
Yeah. Gotten too much head work. We need to get heart work going.
I need to get hard.